So, I want to kind of recap a little bit from Wednesday night and even use some of the same verses that we talked about in 1 Corinthians 15, 50, see here, it is 55 through 58. There's, obviously you guys know I'm a big Michigan fan, Blake's an Ohio State fan. But there's this really crazy story back from, I think it was like in the 80s, back during what they called the 10-year war, which was Bo Schembechler was our coach, who used to be a coach at Ohio State, an assistant coach. And then they played against Woody Hayes, who was the Ohio State coach. And these are two of the iconic football coaches at Ohio State and Michigan, for those of you that don't know. And there was this game that was being played, and Woody Hayes was beating Michigan. Michigan was losing Ohio State by a lot. I forget the exact score, but they're up by so much, and then it's the end of the game, and Woody Hayes chooses to go for two after a touchdown. So he goes for two, not just the extra point, but goes for